Hello, I'm John Furrier with theCUBE. We are here at theCUBE's NYSE studio. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley to Wall Street. This is the AWS Marketplace Series. We're featuring leaders in technology and cloud native and AI native, bringing the value of this next generation wave here. We got a great guest, McCully, Field CTO, Oligo Security. Great to have you on. You guys are in the marketplace. Watched all your demos online. You got a lot of great series on YouTube. Great to have you on. Marketplace phenomenon, cloud native, great. Now AI native, the speed and velocity is fast. People are really interested in what's going on.
Yes,
take
sir,
us
John.
through.
Yeah,
Take us through. What's the value proposition for you guys in the AWS marketplace?
sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, we're excited to be partners with AWS and definitely in the marketplace itself. At Oligo, we've got we believe, a pretty unique solution, and excited to be part of there. It's focused on runtime security and the runtime security platform. So it's a unique offering that we deliver. Some unique IP that allows us to see deep inside of applications while they're running. Our claim to fame is actually seeing code live in the runtime. And that's it's a unique thing because I think once you start to see the code, you quickly realize the entire digital world is running code. And that allows us to help solve a lot of the security problems for organizations, of being able to identify, see, and even prevent attacks in real time. So being part of this marketplace helps us offer this solution to all of the AWS customers as well. And I think we're definitely excited to be part of that.
Talk about the relationship with AWS. You guys, if I understand it correctly, you're natively on AWS. What
You're
does that
spot
mean
on.
for customers as they look at the value proposition?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Like, we've built our infrastructure and our entire system on top of the AWS platform, which obviously lets us inherit quite a few things. Some of those are just the security and scalability and resiliency of the AWS platform. And so we inherit that, which helps us deliver it back to our customers as well. So being part of that platform, I think, helps because we're a security company. We need to have that resiliency and the ability to have those security controls and support things like our SOC 2 certification and other types of certification required for us to actually run successfully to support our customers.
Talk about the customer value. How are they extracting the value? What's the key to success for the customer as they look at this and integrate that into their offerings and their plans?
Yeah, we we see a lot of impact, I think, to a lot of our customers from the perspective that, as they continue to grow, scale, as they adopt new technology, new solutions, AI being one of those more prominent ones, and even leveraging, AWS Bedrock, the ability to have new ways to help identify and protect against attacks. What's interesting, it's actually pretty timely, this conversation, the Anthropic, project Glasswing with the Mythos, spent, and I think actually opened quite a few eyes as far as like how AI is going to change the security world, right? The fact that these new solutions will have new ways to identify and exploit applications in real time. So providing some insight into that and even providing a platform to help protect against those types of attacks is exactly what we've created. So our idea is the more security you can start to embed and deliver to customers, the more you enable them to take advantages and grow, right? Like, part of the ability to actually expand, increase revenue basis, and create applications to solve customer needs, even internal needs for organizations, and even adopt things like AI and take advantage of them. Having the ability to include security to help offset that risk and create the trust with their customers is one of the things that we deliver. It's the ability to actually have a lot of that security platform to build on top of and provide insight and controls that allow them to actually continue to build on top of the AWS platform.
Talk about the real-time visibility with the runtime. That's a key advantage. You mentioned that
It is.
earlier. What's involved in that, and does that create operational friction?
Yeah, it's a great question. That real-time visibility, I think, is one of the unique sauce, right? Unique capabilities is the fact that, historically this has been a blind spot inside of most security platforms. So there's been approaches to identify security risk, right? You go scan, you identify potential holes and gaps and try to fix it, but you're guessing at that and seeing if you can potentially, patch a lot of those components. When it came to real time and running applications, a lot of time was spent just trying to identify attacks and signals of attacks. And do damage control. What we believe that we're bringing to the market's ability to actually see deep inside of the application, see the code when it's running, and attacks happen inside of the code, right? When attackers decide to abuse your applications, what they're doing is actually abusing the code. They're taking advantage of potential weaknesses in the code. And if we can surface that, actually give you that lens to see those attacks, this is how we can actually stop those attacks in line, but without impacting the ability for the application to keep functioning. This is probably one of the more critical parts. People are pushing applications to the AWS platform in order to actually solve problems and generate them revenue. What we want to do is to provide a way that they can do that in a secure way and still achieve those goals without blocking or taking down servers, and allowing them to have that business resiliency that's what that they expect.
You know, security is one of those things where the word confidence is always that, and people want the confidence,
Yeah.
but they're always chasing the vulnerabilities. We covered a story just a few days ago on SiliconANGLE, you guys moving beyond CVE prioritization with real-time application layer exploit blocking, which you just mentioned. This is new. This is new.
Yes.
Can you explain that? I know we got a demo. I'd like you to walk through this demo. It has no audio, so if you could narrate and share with us, because I think this is going to be a big deal. Real-time coding. Obviously, you're seeing with AI coding assistants, people are coming in and managing things. So lots going on in real time. Big new feature.
It is. It's a big new feature we're very proud of. And even AI even adds more complexity, not just on the proactive coding, but the fact that AI can do things like write code and execute code in real time that never existed before. And so having eyes on what's actually happening in real time becomes extremely important. So yeah, we're excited about this capability and what we just delivered earlier this week.
All right, let's see if we can pull up that video. Let's take a
Yeah.
look at this and take us through and explain what's going on.
Yep. Yes, sir. So what you're seeing here is our dashboard. So one of the things we like to surface is just all the risk inside of an organization. So this is an overall view, but our focus is when we see the code, we want to share that telemetry with all of our customers. Part of that is doing things like surfacing vulnerabilities that are constantly being discovered and disclosed. But this new capability that we just delivered, as you mentioned, is the ability to actually block entire categories and techniques associated with these attacks. So as you're seeing here, one of the things that you can start to do is say, maybe I have the time or means, or maybe there isn't even a fix to fix the vulnerability. I can go create a blocking policy that gives me mitigating controls, which basically renders this type of attack useless, right? The fact that attackers can no longer abuse this type of technique, which has applications to literally hundreds of vulnerabilities, not only what's there today, but things that haven't been discovered or disclosed yet. So this technique approach is independent of CVEs, but starting to give some insight into these types of techniques. This is a list of all of the techniques that we've created so far. Most of them have been focused on remote code execution. We know that's one of the most detrimental and damaging sort of attacks that happen. This example here, this Java insecure deserialization, if you go jump on the CVE database and do a quick search for deserialization, there's literally thousands of vulnerabilities that pop up. They use the exact same type of technique. The path to get to that type of attack is different with all of these different codes. If I build an app, you built an app, if it's susceptible to deserialization, it uses this exact same type of technique. And the ability to actually stop that deep inside the application without stopping the application continuing to function is exactly what we're delivering, this new type of approach that allows to have mitigating controls when there may not be a patch or you can't fix things.
Mick, thanks for that walkthrough. By the way, for people watching, there's a lot of great YouTube videos that you could do similar things for, so check it out. Now, the question is marketplaces are great. We're seeing that as a great way to go to market as customers kind of add security into kind of their projects and plans. The question that comes up all the time is the onboarding. How does the integration look? You're native to AWS, which gives you a little bit of an advantage. So AWS, certainly a big advantage. You know all the inner workings, and certainly they have AI for DevOps now, so they got some stuff. Take us through and scope the workflow, ease of use. What are some of the challenges that you guys solve? What's the onboarding look like for a customer?
Yeah. So part of being it's part of the AWS Marketplace and being a partner is we've obviously streamlined the purchase process. You can purchase directly through the AWS Marketplace. We even offer private offers and the ability to have enterprise agreements, which in starts to actually accelerate the ability to become a customer. Once that happens, the onboarding process from an Oligo perspective is very, very easy and straightforward. We basically need to perform an install on every single host or node inside of the AWS environment. That installation process is automated and very fast. It's literally a 10 to 15 minute process. And that's all it's required. Like, part of the beauty of the approach that we've taken is there's no modification to the apps. There's no overhead associated with sort of the running app. It's less than 1 to 2% for our ability to perform these inspections. And it's a very streamlined process. We can do this for apps our customers, your customers, our customers build, buy, or run. And so part of that is streamlining that onboarding process, right? The ability to get them up and running and utilizing the technology in a very simple way. Once that happens, like, you're a customer. We treat you like every other customer. And part of that process is helping you operationalize that. Now, how do you take the data that we have and help you solve a lot of those business problems, turn on some of those protections, detections, fix things that make sense, but being able to help embed those into existing organizational processes.
Mick, I might ask, okay, I got a live environment. What's the impact? What's the risk? I might be a little bit nervous, invasive to that. Why would you address that objection?
Yeah, so it's trust with any security solution is probably one of the biggest words that you'll hear, right? And you're spot on. And a lot of what we do is do deployments and work with customers to earn that. If our app shuts down, gets shut off, your business apps continue to function as normal. And this is part of our ability to make sure that we give that telemetry, but we don't sit inside of us a single point of failure. So the installation process helps us automate that. But once we're there, we can start to surface this information, and our customers can also roll it out gradually. Turn on visibility, start with detection, and then when they're ready for that protection piece, simply turn it on, and the ability to turn it on or off as they need to is always available at their fingertips.
You know, in security, we've had many conversations on theCUBE around about lateral movement, endpoint protection. When you're in the runtime, that's a great advantage, but also with AI, you're starting to see more integration, and the siloed strategies weren't working. How do you address that? That comes up a lot. Security silos. How do you talk about that, and what should customers think about when implementing?
It does. And I think AI starts to add additional layers of complexity to a lot of these environments, because, to your point, a lot of those integrations and interactions across other systems starts to surface. In order for AI to give you those efficiencies and capabilities, you have to start to give it more control and access. Part of that is being able to identify and see all of those activities in real time. Like, you can definitely inspect information coming in, but you want to know what is happening in real time across all those organizations. So, as I mentioned before, when you look at the digital world, and once you can start to see code, everything starts to look the same. Like, that's probably one of the more powerful parts about Oligo is when we look at the code, we don't care where it originates from or what it comes from. So all of these different components, the AI inference servers, the tools and the skills associated with all of these different components, the chain of thought, all of that starts to get exposed just as code and provides this layer of transparency. So it solves a lot of those gaps of, like, what is my app doing? What is my workload doing? What is the AI engine doing? And start to provide some of that visibility and control inside of those components.
Well, Mick, it's great. You're the field CTO, so you talk to customers all the time. People watching this, who is your ideal customer? If they're watching, how do they know they should be using you guys and working with you? Who are they? What's your customer look like?
Yeah. So all of our customers, anybody transaction business on the web, right? Utilizing cloud services and native AWS capabilities. And as they start to grow, the CISO is obviously the one that probably cares about the most. Being able to identify risks and mitigate risk is part of their control. But we help multiple teams. We help the AppSec team actually identify and fix the risks that matter the most. We also help the cloud sec and cloud security architecture identify real-time attacks and provide them the controls to perform some of these mitigations. Those protections that I showed you earlier, like, those are all solutions that we can help teams solve and stop attacks from actually happening in real time. So there's multiple sort of individuals that we help inside of an organization, but part of it's just surfacing this telemetry that they may not have to begin with. And a lot of that helps solve problems that have been very, very difficult in the past to solve now.
Well, Mick, thanks so much for sharing on the AWS Marketplace Series. Really appreciate it and love the demo. And again, put a plug in for the YouTube videos, tons of
Appreciate
practitioners,
that.
examples. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All
Appreciate
right,
the
I'm
time.
John Furrier with theCUBE here at our studios in New York City, NYSE. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studios. Thanks for watching.